Yo, what up? My name is Ark. This is The Grind. I want to go over the new build I have been doing recently. I actually switched over from Bladefall Blade Blast Inquisitor. It was pretty good. Honestly, the build is amazing. Thanks to Big Ducks for the build guide. That's what I actually went with my league start. I will have a link to his video below in the description, so don't forget to go check that out. It was actually a very fun build, and even with the budget version, I did have a great time as far as actual gameplay. But I did switch over because with Path of Exile, as we all know, we need to be able to have fun, and I was having fun with the build, but the drops I was getting throughout the league were not exactly what I was looking for. I got to a point where I was having trouble upgrading the gear, even with heists, so I re-rolled, and let's go into what I re-rolled. So I decided to go Blade Flurry General's Cry Champion. I did see a build from Badger talking about Perforate, and I did try this out. It isn't bad, but it isn't as good still as Blade Flurry in my personal opinion. Right now I'm on very budget gear with the actual character, but I want to show you guys what I will be going for. I did use pretty much the exact same tree that he is using for the most part, but I do plan on doing a few things differently. So let's go through the tree a little bit. It's pretty basic, nothing crazy. So as you can see with Champion, when you're leveling up, what you're going to get first is Fortify. That's the first thing that I got. And then Master of Metal, just to get the more damage. It just helped with the storyline. I did switch over pretty early to General's Cry. You probably could stay with Ground Slam or even one of the steel skills to level up a little bit quicker than I did. I think I got through the whole story in about 4.5, 5 hours of actual gameplay, split up over 2 days, I think. And now I'm at level 82, about to fight Cyrus again, and we're going to get it done. Third, I did get the Adrenaline, First to Strike, Last to Fall, and I am about to get Inspirational. I'm going to do that tonight, I think. So let's go over a few other things in the tree. I am going for crit with this build. General's Cry is a great skill. I will have video footage of the character on the next video. As you can see, pretty tanky, 6.3k life just about, and pretty good regen, some decent leech. And the only thing in this tree that I really didn't put into the gear was just some required dex stats, which not hard to get, very easy. And a little bit of chaos res as well, so that's where a lot of the money is going to come in. It's a pretty good build, feels nice. Champion is always a great pick if you don't want to die a lot, very tanky. But let's go over the skill links. So for the General's Cry setup, this is what I would want to be able to get eventually. So we'd get Awaken Melee Physical Damage, Awaken Brutality, General's Cry, Impale, and then I'm going to switch Perforate for Blade Flurry. And the damage just feels a lot better for clear with Sand Stance, and for some reason it does not feel like the Perforate, even from the General's Cry, shotguns as well as it did in the video. Great for bossing, decent for mapping. One thing that, and then we're going to use Dash with Second Wind, Dread Banner, Gloves. We're going to use Pride, Enlighten, and then Petrified Blood here. So the point of Petrified Blood is you're going to try to get 49% of your life reserved, and use Petrified Blood and a small instant life flask, or any instant life flask. The one I got is actually a Remove Bleed and Corrupted Blood instant life flask. So you use that to bump yourself up right above to 51%, and you will go down to 49% easy, essentially making you have permanent adrenaline. And then we'll have Blood and Sand. Now, for the shield, you could put what you want. Obviously, I'm going to put Veil Ancestral War Chief. The reason why you do this is for the more damage. You could use the other one for the attack speed as well. That would not be bad by any means. Herald of Purity, I'm going to use it, but until I get the gear I need to use it, I am not yet. Then, to keep your life up, using the Disciple of Katava Jewel, and if you don't know what that is, what it does is when you're cycloning, you desecrate to create corpses. You use those corpses to summon your generals, but some of those corpses, every second you consume a corpse and it restores 5% of your life and mana. So this is great. If you don't consume a corpse, you do take increased damage, but you'll always be consuming corpses, so you're always regenerating life. It's a nice layer of defense for the build, and it just feels great overall. So in the helmet, right now I still have steel skin here, but you could do mold shell. I feel like will be better late game once you actually have more armor. So right now I'm using steel skin, increased duration, cast when damage taken, summon ice golem. Ice golem, more crit chance. You want to get crit as high as you possibly can. The best gloves that you can get are going to be the Hands of High Templar with good corrupts on it. So you want vulnerability on there. I will show the gear in a second. And then precision from Here Is Truth, just to give you that extra accuracy that you're not really getting in the tree for sure, just to make sure it's capped, and the extra crit chance as well. So let's go into the items now. So the best possible one you can get is going to be Paradoxica for now. Obviously you could get a better weapon if you really want to invest crazy amounts of currency into this build. Right now the Paradoxica I'm using is actually increased fizz damage, quality, blind on hit, which I know you already get blind with Flesh and Stone, but I pretty much stay in Blood Stance most of the time, or Flesh I guess. So I use that blind, it's pretty nice, and that's what I have on that. Red Blade Banner is pretty much an essential for this build. Until you get this, you really don't want to switch over to General's Cry from leveling. Like I said, I switched over pretty early. I think I switched over at around 45, and it felt pretty good. In Sans especially, you can just run through most of the content. Everything will just die from Perforate with that, but I still think Blade Flurry will be better. So this is where you're going to be spending a little bit of money. I think right now they're starting off at around 4 to 6x for an Eternal Burgonet with the General's Cry, has +1 number of mirages, and that's just where it starts. Especially once you put in the nearby enemies take additional 9% increased physical damage, then they ramp up quickly. But again, for endgame gear, this isn't anything too crazy. You should be able to get this, especially if you farm Heist a little bit. Heist is definitely the most profitable way in this league to do this. For the plate, this is where I'm going to be taking my time to either craft this or eventually buy this. As you can see, it's a great item. You get res, 120 max life, 12 to maximum life. Regen is good, but not needed, and you'd like to get a res on there. But the attacks have, I think it goes up to 1.5, but any amount is good. Attacks have 1.17 on critical strike chance, and then you need avoid ailments on this build. It's very important to get that. Do not forget to get that. That's actually very important. Here's where I was talking about earlier with the Hands of the High Templar, where you would like to get your curse enemies with vulnerability on hit with increased effect and then more crit strike chance. And these gloves are not bad anyway. I mean, the extra armor is nice, the 12% increased maximum life is nice, and you still get a little bit of resistances on there as well. Now, here you could get, I personally am just going to leave my Fortify and my Cyclone. You could get it on here, and it would be better for the Cyclone eventually. I'm not going to really focus on this. I think personally, Infused Channeling is good, and definitely will make the build feel better, but I like to go fast. I think I'm going to go with Tailwind and Elusive Boots if I can actually get that done. I think that would be a lot of fun, so I'm going to try to go for that eventually. But this is what I put together for the standard build, and it would be pretty nice. Here's Truth for the precision, the extra fizz damage to attacks, a good amount of leech, and it takes less reservation for precision, so you can really run that level 22 precision, and you don't have to worry about any of that. Also, you could throw on some noxious catalysts onto this to increase the fizz damage. It's gonna make this a little bit better than it already does. I think it goes up to about 32 on the top end physical damage to attacks, so that's a pretty good amount of flat damage. Then 2 steel rings. This is where you'd want to get the stats that you're missing if you can, as well as some extra life, and if you can, and craft resistance is on there, good. Again, this one, I'm not really having any mana issues, to be honest. So I did put channeling skills, have less mana cost on here. But if you have, the Disciple of Katava, you're really never running out of mana. Your skills don't really cost that much mana, so just res, physical flat fizz, and life on here is really what the necessities call for. Now here is where you can really pump out a lot of damage. If you see here, if I take this off, you lose about almost 5 million boss DPS. Very good, but you could replace this easily. At the end of the day, going from 22 to 17 million DPS isn't going to make or break your build, so feel free to change this out for something else if you want. A great Stygian Vice, that's how you could really get the res up, get Chaos res on it, cap the rest of your res, and then you have a jewel slot for more damage, or more Chaos res, more damage, more life, which will also be nice as well. Now the instant recovery flask, I actually have a big one for it, but it's fine. Instant recovery is all you really want this. This is how you get permanent low life. And then obviously Bottled Faith, best flask in the game pretty much, and this is something that you need for the build. The damage is nice, Consecrated Ground, and just that flat crit strike chance if you don't know about it. And then Lion's Roar is the last flask that I'm going to use. The more melee physical damage is great, and the knockback is great for just survivability. You really can't beat that. So let's go into the jewels. This one, I already have this one. It's very good. Furious Assault helps a lot. The overwhelm damage from Ironbreaker, or damage reduction from Ironbreaker, is great. And then right now I am pointed all the way over to Master of Fundamentals just because you don't do any elemental damage, so the extra res is nice to help cap you off a little bit, and the 35 increased physical damage is not bad either. Now this is the next one. This one is the one that I do not have yet on my current build, so this is what I'll be getting next, and this is what gives you frenzied power and endurance charge per power of your war cries. And since your war cries have unlimited power, have infinite power, thanks to Red Blade Banner, that's how you're going to get charges, just for a little bit more survivability, crit, and a little bit more attack speed on your generals. And then we have the Conqueror's Efficiency Crimson Jewel, which gives you a little bit less reservation on skills, mana cost, and increases the skill effect duration. Great thing to have, especially with this new low life version of this build. Petrified Blood is pretty interesting, so I'm excited to see this when I have everything fully put together. Then just some jewels for crit multi and max life and projectile damage, and I think I'm going to change this since I'm pretty sure I do not need the projectile damage now. And then for the Watcher's Eye, Precision Pride, crit multi, and increased attack damage. This is always good, obviously. And then the other medium cluster jewel that we have, Lead by Example and Provocateur. This is a one I do currently have. This is the one that I have the Katava's Teaching small cluster jewel in, and it's just great to have. You pretty much have permanent onslaught, increased critical strike chance against taunted enemies, they are always taunted, and more crit multi. So, and then here's Katava's Teachings. If you do not know about this yet, now you do. It is great. As you can see, every second consume a corpse and recover 5% of life and mana. And you do take more damage if you haven't consumed a corpse recently. That gives you 4 seconds to consume a corpse. Simple. You're always going to be consuming corpses, unless you're standing in your hideout. So, and even there you can. Anyway, this is pretty much the build that I will be going for this league for right now. I am thinking of something else a little bit more interesting. This is just something to farm up currency to be able to get to the next build. I will have a video later tonight that I will put out as well, also showing the build in action. Alright guys, well, thank you for watching another video. My name is Ark.